Hello everyone and welcome to another video here in my channel. This one's specifically to shout out the rest of the people who were technically more contributing than I ever did. All I did was edit these videos. I didn't do shit. I was given all the puzzle pieces. I was given, ideas to make this a lot better. And so, I'm here to actually just, credit a lot of the people. We're going to be going like one by one through every video that like relates to the Trench Saga. We're gonna just talk about some of the choices that I made, and we'll go from there. It's gonna be a little fun. This is specifically for you guys, not for the bigger audience who are just here to like watch. It's not focusing on me. So let's begin. All right, the audio and the live stream is fantastic, and I love including the line with the scream. Excellent work. This is the first video of the Trench Saga that I made. It was supposed to be an abridged version. I didn't include everything in there. Like I didn't include the entirety of the live stream experience, especially some of the dialogue of the ad break or anything where Dan and Sally were speaking. I made this specific video because it was supposed to just be me making the movie out of what they had in their story playlist, and so it had things like Shy Away livestream edition, and they didn't include the line. But I was like, oh well, the line fits perfectly here. I've always been an adamant believer that the line 100% is a story related song. Even though yes, I know if you take away the literal meaning of the song, then it becomes a little fucked up when I just take it for what it is. But I still think it's a wonderful song. It's definitely one of my favorite singles. Probably is my favorite single, aside from Drag That. Here we have Franco Rico 8666. I never understood why Shy Away live version is part of the story. Yeah, like I said, this is it was mainly meant to be the bridge into the live stream experience, because the live stream experience is the story. It's supposed to be, a whole propaganda of Clancy, making music for the bishops, even though he doesn't want to. He was trapped again after being taken from Levitate, and we just, we go from there. We see him performing, and we put Shy Away specifically. I'm assuming they did, because that was the only one that got a music video. I think Heathens might have gotten it too, but you obviously pick Heathens over, Shy Away over Heathen Streets. That just makes more sense to me. It was a little foray. It was fun to do that, but it was fine. I could have added the entire live stream experience, but I didn't have it at this point. I hadn't found it on the internet. I have this 720p version that I just been using for the entirety of these projects until recently, which we'll get to. Somebody told me that there was something else we could use. Niui Pokey 6-1, bro. I can ask you to marry me right now. Oh, whatever. They said adding Drag Path as an epilogue would be great. Yes, it would be. It's honestly that I was like waiting for the day I can use Drag Path, but every time I uploaded one of these versions, it would get flagged, it would get striked, and I would be like, okay, well, I had to take it down. I can't add it. It wasn't until obviously they released a single version, which pretty much just gave everybody the ability to react to Drag Path, even if it was the inferior version. But whatever. It worked. It worked for what it is. The dry versions always had the original digital remains, but otherwise we had to make do with what we had. Angelic Miranda says wouldn't the line fit in the lore pretty linear? I always imagined it to be a spoiler breach. Yeah. I the line, like I said, I think it's just a wonderful song. It itself, yes, we got that little snippet at the beginning when the line was being released, with Tyler saying that it was about his grandmother, and like back then I was like, yeah, no, I totally get that. But when you like see it, you just read the lyrics, and it's like, well, I mean, this fits pretty well into the story. Why wouldn't we have it? And it just fits perfectly. It makes so much sense to happen like right before the end of City Walls that I was just like, yeah, I need to add this. And then obviously Alex Be Quiet's version, which wasn't in this one, because by then, no wait, was it? Yeah, I think they played the line towards the half end of the Clancy tour, so yeah, it should have been. I used Alex Be Quiet's version, the Scream, or the one that we saw in the video game awards. Chon Don Torre. This is my new favorite lore video using I Am Clancy video as commentary between music videos released. I thought that was like a given. I didn't realize how like new that was, or like for when I was looking through like videos on YouTube, like, oh yeah, story, the 21 Pilots story. Just I wanted a compilation so I could download it and put it into my local file so I could listen to it myself. I didn't want to make, not that I didn't want to make it, I just didn't know how to. And it wasn't until like I was working on it that I was like, oh yeah, this sounds pretty good. And then like that's the only thing I do now. That's like my main thing. I use the I Am Clancy, I Am Torchbearer voice lines, because that's the only piece of dialogue we get throughout the entirety of the Trench Saga. I mean, there's some, like obviously the ad breaks in the live stream experience or the ending of City Walls, but we rarely get any sort of actual dialogue. You're just expected to know a lot of this because you're either a fan or you watch some of the music videos, which is a big task. It's like watching every Marvel movie, although it doesn't take as long. Siento que Saya debe hacer music videos, but never take any no chances. I 100% agree. I think never take it like in the live stream experience was good enough, but no chances definitely deserved a music video. I thought like it like I said here, yeah, 100% the chances it needed one. It needed a music video. It was like one of the heaviest lore songs that we got. One of the most, at that point during Skeld and Icy's release, it was one of the top songs that were like, oh yeah, this is a part of the lore, and we didn't get anything for it. The live stream experience sort of does that, where like one of the ad breaks, the final one with Dan and Sally, when they finally have the eyes are being controlled, it shows, that like there are no chances. That would have been an amazing segue, which is why I added that in the later parts. But I think they didn't do that because of the IC tour. They did like my favorite mashup transition between Good Day and No Chances. I thought that was genius. I thought that was amazing. It's one of my favorite transitions that they've done. It's like up there with Nika Dirty Soul. It's fantastic. Here's one of the ones that inspired me by Crystal. I don't know how to pronounce that. The Skeld and IC port is also clever. I have my own draft of the Dima Saga, but I use Choker livestream just for the last Nobody's Coming For Me after the Perform Never Take It, and also with a mix of original Choker music video. I know it's not lore related, but still using Shy Away fits more better, to be honest. Like I back then I did it like in one day. I made this specific video in one day because I was like, oh well, I want it now. We have City Walls, that's the ending of the story. Okay, we're good. I need to make this video now. I did it as soon as the video released, or like a couple days after. Not released. I didn't think nobody was gonna watch it. So I just like, okay, let's just get all the story parts. Let's make this. And when I was rewatching the live stream experience, I was like, oh yeah, I could use that Joker part. The Joker part is amazing. I wanted to make a different trailer, like an actual original one using like my own mashups and stuff. But I'm not that kind of guy. And the Choker part at the end, I know it's over. I was born a Choker. Nobody's coming for me. I thought that's like an amazing hook, but I couldn't put it in there. It's still one of my favorite parts in the entire story, though. Here's me saying I had a whole other draft that used more of the live stream, but I didn't know how to make them work too well. At some point, I was just gonna put the entire thing in LOL, but I only put Shy Away because that's the story page. And then this guy, Estaniel. Yeah, I think he's the one that pretty much inspired me to be like, yeah, I guess I'll make a Clancy Saga with the entirety of the live stream experience. I think it fit. I think the second version doesn't do that. I think it just plays up until the end of Holding On To You, goes to Shy Away, and goes to Saturday. But I don't remember that well. I'm not going to watch these videos again. I'm not going to lie. I completely forgot about Stay Low Until Lame Boy. Like, yeah, that's like another great part. It's a part of the letters, which I think I've always said this. If you're going into the lore, if you're watching this, it's like comparing the movie to the book. If you don't read the notes, it's like you're reading a an adaptation. It's like you're watching an adaptation of the notes that aren't completely true. Like, we know that Nico wasn't the one who took Clancy outside the walls. I don't know if it was a Carver or Keon's, but it wasn't Nico. And so, like, when you really get into the nitty gritty of the notes, it's like, yes, you're not reading the book. You're gonna get the movie story, not the book story. So just like that's the sort of thing you just got to be in mind. Keep in mind when you're like watching these, because I would like to find a way to incorporate the notes, but that would only make it a longer video, and then I don't even know if people are that interested in it. And this is like my 5th version. I'm not gonna make another one. Yeah, that's it for the first video. The second video got I think a little more traction. I think this is the most viewed Trench Saga video that I have on my channel. By Waffle. Dude, this is absolutely phenomenal. Just one little critique. I would put Truce at the end of Clancy's first failed attempt to escape. I think it's super important to the story, and the first failure is the same song backwards as the final victory. Such a great project. You killed it. This is the reason I changed Truce in the newest version. This comment, I was like, yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense than putting it like right after Intentions, because if you're gonna do Intentions, Truce, and into Drag Path, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Truce is already like, oh yeah, we won, but Intentions is like, okay, we're starting it over again. But you just said yeah. It didn't make any sense to me. It makes sense as a sort of, I'm trapped. I don't know how long I'm going to be in here going into Act 2, because we don't know how much time passes. We have to like assume it's a long time because his hair grows, and we don't know if he cuts it again, but his hair goes from levitate bald to the outside, full of hair. And time definitely passed. Could have been a couple months, could have been a couple years. Who knows? He had to dye his hair, he had to cut it again. There could have been like so many like different forms of different ways that we can like explore this. I wish there was like one thing I do wish if they could fix throughout this entire story is more plot in between Act 1 and 2, because we're not given anything. We're not really given anything, and like this isn't a movie. This is a little story. Whoops. This isn't a movie. Just to put it plainly, it's not a movie. It's music videos trying to tell a story, and everything that I added, everything that was recommended, is a lot of fluff that could be useful in an actual story. But since we're not given any visuals, since we're not given any context behind some of these songs, it's just hard to add something without explicit guidance towards them. I'm speaking out of my ass. How'd you get the commentary? I isolated the audio from the music from. Oh, I guess this is the introduction to one of the to one of the most vocal people in the comments, and I mean this in like a really a good place, because a lot of the times that they commented, it was usually to be like, oh, what about this, what about this, what about this, and I was never like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I was always more interested because it helped me like keep myself in track. Like if I forgot something, or if this didn't make sense, VolutedMetal right here, he was there most of the time. They were there. I don't know who they are. The most help definitely towards from here onward. I was always just like, yeah, it felt nice having a lot of people to be like, oh yeah, this doesn't make sense, you should add this, and I was like, okay, yeah, and that's when this became a project not for me, but a project for everybody, and I was like, okay, yeah, let's just do that. Hex 17, there is some stuff I really like about this, and things I would definitely prefer to be changed, and some stuff I would have included. I think I might try my hand at making something like this, just so I can do something like that. Yeah, do it. I've been like watching a lot of these since I made mine, because a lot of people tag me in them, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm like, oh, well, yeah. You don't need my approval. This is a story for everyone. You can make your own. If this doesn't make sense, make yours. This is fucking happy for you. If it inspired somebody to do something like this, it's like, okay, well, then my job is done. That's all I really needed to do. I'm not trying to like monopolize the I am Clancy field, you know. It's not even mine. It's not even Pilot's. I just so happen to really like doing it. Incredible how you incorporated live. It was not that hard, but I liked it. Yeah, thank you. The only ending that would complete the lore is drag path, and I agree. But obviously, no. Yeah. Please add drag path once it's flagging it. Done. Okay, here's one. I hope no one minds me asking, but I really actually want to know how the line is related to the lore. And I wrote it here. I understand if this is a personal song for his grandmother, but the chorus honestly speaks for itself. I was completely inebriated when I was typing this. My body crossed the line. I can't fight this time now. I can feel the light shine out my face. Did I disappoint you? Will they still let me over if I cross the line? It all aligns so well with City Wall's music video, and as if he was speaking to the torturer himself. I understand the back and forth of the literal and toward meaning, but towards the story it felt right, you know. I don't know what I just said, but like it makes sense to me. It made sense to me to add the line. It just felt like it was necessary. It felt like the final push, the final hurrah before he finally felt like he could take over and be himself. You know, it ended up not working, but it felt like he was speaking to himself. That's what like, you know, the contract is that. The contract is him in his mind, while this is a little further. You know, we saw what happened in the music video. He's like, there's a bunch of other people watching him, a bunch of glowing eyes, dare I say. And the line just felt that like it made sense. Okay, well, now like this happened, let's go even further into my head and let me speak to myself without like any of these interruptions. I just thought the line was like no brainer to add. Bonus DLC by Fourth Wall. Card Search of Death made a little cameo. I wanted to include it so bad, but it was already like super packed, and the only place I thought I could put it was between Bandito and Paladin Straight. But even then I was like, well, most of the lyrics don't make too much sense. I only really like the chorus, so I isolated the chorus and I put it into the ending of Isle of Flightless Birds. I made it a little louder in this new version, and I also added Doubt there, so that's where Doubt went. Holding On to You, yes, that one was technically already there. I also would have wanted to add it, but the music video doesn't make sense into it, and I couldn't like get anything out of it other than the motif, the Entertain My Faith, which is already there in the live stream experience. So I didn't feel the need to add it anymore. Lavish would have been a funny one. Maybe end credits. My Blood. Yeah, no, that one had to be in there. It made sense with navigating music video ending with that. It just made sense. Then it goes into the story pretty well. You know, after finally finding himself, he talks to Josh, and you know they're a pair now. They're partners. And then then putting Bandito in there just like made sense to me afterwards. Be concerned and clear. I never listen. You might hate me for this, but I actually, those are like my two least favorite songs by Tony Pilots. I already don't like Regional and Best too much. I think it's really like it's there's a reason it's not released. Like I like Forest, I like Ruby, I like Anathema, but I those two are just like no, not for me. Isle of Flightless Birds, I added that one, and I mainly only added that one because in between the minute of silence of Paladin Straight, it just made a lot of sense. Like you hear the birds, and then the first line, this is a climax to the story. It just felt right to add. Wait, I'm so confused. The parts where Tyler is speaking, is that AI or is the actual audio of Tyler speaking directly to us, telling us each part of the story? Like, this is actually real. I would like to be happy to know if he at one point read the story out loud like an audiobook. I think I've got it in like a message or a comment in every video. It's talking about how I got the audio. I'm surprised a lot of people didn't know about I Am Clancy, but I guess you had to be like in there because I Am Clancy released like a day before Overcompensate did, and I was just like, oh well, it's pretty cool. But you wouldn't like watch it if you weren't already like familiar with the Clancy character. No Bandito. God, I wish I put it earlier. Dude, Bandito. I think Bandito might be my second favorite song of theirs of all time. I love Morph. That's like my favorite song of theirs. But Bandito just makes so much sense. And I put it here. You know, that was the plan was like originally to put it, but I did. This was just to add more of the live stream experience. The next video was a true fan presented edition, and we'll talk about how I got that name. But I said this is mostly based around the music videos. The entirety of the live stream experience is the only thing I omitted. No chances, the line and drag path, while they don't have music videos, were all suggested in my previous video, which we went over. If I had made a video including all the lore-based songs, it'd be over 2.5 hours. But I'd say it would go after Navigating, My Blood, Bandito, Paladin Straight. Maybe I'll make a supercut in December. Guess what I fucking did. So this is the one that like I got the idea of adding doubt, because I was like, at this point, if I'm gonna do a supercut, I might as well ask everybody what their what songs they would want. I'm sorry. You can include doubt as a lore song too, because the bishops are mentioned. You can argue the same about the judge. I thought the judge was a no-brainer. The contractor he sees, yeah. I always thought the judge was meant to be there. I think. Well, I'll go over this in a separate video. I'm gonna make a tier list next time, but we'll talk about it then. If you end up doing something like that, would you also add a visual version? This is the reason I made I went through the whole ordeal of asking other YouTubers, being like, hey, can I use your visuals so I can like make this? And I got a lot. Everybody said okay. I was like, okay, perfect. So this was he's pretty much the reason because like the first two videos, obviously I just use splash screens. It's just the album art of the specific album, of the specific song that's currently playing, you know. So I didn't really like do much there. But yeah, so you know, the visual versions, I wanted to do something. I obviously wanted to try to incorporate the music videos, but I couldn't. It would just be flashing back in and out, and I didn't want that. I thought that was a little too like flashy, more visual effects than I really needed to do. Also, I feel like Leave the City should be added, and I added that one. I really like that one. We'll talk about that one next. Maybe Goner I didn't add until later on to the most recent version. I didn't see it fitting. And then I worked it in there. I honestly kind of regret adding Goner now, but it works. It makes more sense than Truce there. Card Search of Death, yeah, we got that one. Tally I wanted from the beginning. I think Tally was my favorite song, my second favorite song off of Breach. And the lyrics just made sense. I just didn't know how to without making it sound funky. And in either way, I still did it that way. So this was the fact that Morph and Migraine both have slightly related lore music videos. I think Morph was the only important one with the Nicholas Barbaki line. I thought Morph was always going to be into it. I just didn't know when to add it. So that was that. Oh, and Doubt definitely fits there. Yeah, well. Fan version. What's the difference? Well, we'll talk about the drive later, because it might be a little more confusing than it deserves to be. This was during my Breach review. This was like in between the hiatus of the second version to the third supercut. Another fan edit. It was mainly just to like tidy up like all the other versions, trying to make them consistent, and I did that. Looking forward to the supercut Act 2. I was like during like my experiments, so I guess I was pretty deep into it. But yeah. This is where I got the FPE edition. The name, the fan presented edition. It was again VolutedMetal. You deserve a lot of credit for the title. The fan presented edition making a lot of sense to me. It was the main motif throughout the entirety of the saga. The feud about the emotional, Fell Perimeter Escape, Reach Performance Event. You know, the FPE had to be in here, so I included it, and it was thanks to, you know, our friend here. I think this is my lowest viewed one. It's still over 1,000, sure, but like 1,300. It's you know, it's still my lowest performing Trench Saga video, but they're all still top 4. This needs to be on the official 21 Pilots channel. Yeah, I agree. This is just a movie, bro. Yes, I agree. I saw the short. Yes, I agree. I have popped out that City Wall's intentions is not the true ending. Yes, I know. I mean, I'm in the crowd that 100% thinks that the story's over. I don't think there's any more that they can do that would satisfy me as much as, you know, the City Walls. I'm fine with a hero losing story. Completely fine with it. I don't see any problems. Oh, that was it. Damn, the other two had a lot. This is me explaining all the. This is me explaining my choices, songs I omitted, and I haven't watched any of this. And yeah, this guy kept me on track. All right, this was the separate acts. Just, you know, me splitting them up. I didn't do that for this recent one because I already did it now, and it just didn't make sense to do it again. So I didn't. Your work on the visuals are amazing. That wasn't me. I did credit everybody at the beginning of the video. I put all their links in the description. I didn't do shit. I just found them. I was like, yeah, no, this works, and I asked for permission to use it. And that's how that happened. No, this is like me, yeah, because this was gonna be privated in a day. So this is a lot of people just asking, like, don't do it. And with the visuals, yeah, no, I think the visuals were pretty good. I think all the visuals I use are pretty good. I didn't put a warning on this one. Okay, yeah, this is me. Yeah, because I was asking for a lot of help. I was like, okay, this isn't for me anymore. This is for us. I need your guys' opinions. In my opinion, in my honest opinion, feeding off of Memory, Blurry Face, Emotion Roadshow, Trench, Rendito, Clancy, what? And Breach from what we had on stage. Dead zone during jumpsuit between the judge, between the bridge and finale as it builds. You fade out the petals, but it feels like the petals should remain throughout until the end as they're still falling at different venues. Neon, you have the chandelier used during Bandito Tour B stage and jumpsuit. See, I didn't know half of this shit. When I saw those tours, I was just like screaming my vocal cords out. I wasn't really paying attention to the visuals. I didn't even record anything back then because I was too invested. These people care more than me, and that's why I was like, okay, well, yeah. And so I incorporated all their stuff. When you watch the video, like, you see the petals do remain, like in the neon gravestones, and I fixed that the transition between judge to the Nego, because I was like, oh yeah, if they think it sounds bad, and I'm obviously doing something wrong, and so I fixed it. I never, there's no reason not to call me out for something, because I'd rather, you know, be safe with that. Yeah. So back then I just like try to like, or at least before I released the third version, I try to like mesh them into each other, make them like fade into, but yeah, like they said, it didn't sound good, and I completely agree. Sometimes you just need a little bit of dead zone. That's why even like between the in the new one, Leave the City, there's a bit of dead zone. Between navigating and or between Overcompton and navigating, there's some dead zone. It just makes sense. There's no need to completely push it, especially like in a movie sense. It just didn't make any sense. I saw you mention another comment about interpreting where the story may have started, and I just wanted to say that I have a playlist that begins pre-Blurry Face albums with songs that are either referred later in the storyline, visually or lyrically, or how I imagine the thoughts of the characters could have been in certain moments. Anyway, this is a really cool project, and I can't wait for the official release. Okay, yeah. So I saw this playlist. They sent me a playlist because I thought, like I keep saying, Act 1 is like the weakest. Act 2, sure, like in between the live stream experience and Saturday, there could be something, which is why I added Leave the City. Act 1 is like the most bare bones. It doesn't really give us any story. I had to add, you know, gravestones, the judge, and more just to give some backstory to the whole plot of the movie. So, I thought about adding Hometown in between, what's the name? Heavy, Dirty Soul, and Jumpsuit. Like, I wanted to add that there. I also thought about adding Glowing Eyes. Like they're the banditos are watching him. Because, like I said, some time passes from the end of Heavy Dirty Soul to the beginning of Jumpsuit. His hair grows. His hair grows a reasonable amount for us to believe, like, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month or two pass. This is very cool, but it's very flash and overstimulating. Yeah, see, I completely forgot it's that. That was completely my fault. That's why I didn't intend on that to be like the official release, because I was already putting people off and I didn't want to do that to them. Adding stuff pre-blurry face. Like I said, I think the only one I did add pre-blurry face, aside from like Truce or even pre-Vessel, was Isle of Flightless Birds. I couldn't think of anything else to add. Yeah, our card search death would have been amazing. I couldn't see that one. Be Concerned and Clear, I don't like them, but even then I couldn't find like a story significance to them, so I just didn't. Segue into my beginning. Yeah, and I added that as well. And Leave the City. That's just what I wanted to add. This is Act 2. It was just my guy here. No notes. Great. This was Drag Path. This is the trailer before Act 4, version 4, the most recent one came out. It was technically supposed to be like we can use Drag Path now, so I'm gonna add Drag Path, and I just showed the final part of the story, the story. And now we're down to the most recent video. Volted Media, obviously. We're gonna start from the bottom. So. Underrated, yeah. So this is, at this point, people are just like, yeah, you're done. Go to sleep, child. See, this guy messaged me. They want to use the video for their cover band, which, if you're watching, let me know how that ended out. Super amazing. Yes. Thank you. And this is the final one that I was like, okay, I need to fix some stuff. So if you see here, the first one, I forgot when I was editing the cinematic experience, I forgot to add Leave the City, and I explained why. I'm just quickly going from here. Yeah, Leave the City was a stupid mistake, and I was remaking the music video version. Number 2, I changed the ending or the final visuals from the cinematic experience to the credits of City Walls, because it just made more sense to have credits back there than more story. Well, yes, Drag Path is technically at that point a credit song, not a lore song. I do believe adding the credits there made more sense than the little edit that I made. 3, it was just a bunch of little fixes that I needed to make, but otherwise it was all good. And yeah, that's how we got to the end of this crazy ride. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun making these videos. It's been a lot of fun working with the community, talking to all the other creators that helped me with the visuals for the YouTube release. Talking to a bunch of the comments. Reacting with them, and we're taking a lot of your guys' input, because like I said, I keep saying this isn't my project. This is our project, and it was a lot of fun to make. It was a lot of fun to go through, and unless they add something significant, I'm not touching this again. There's no reason for me to come back to this. Let's be so real. We're done. There's nothing else. This is the end. No more. We're done. Maybe. But yeah, that's all I have. Thank you guys for watching. There's gonna be a new video, I think, Monday, Friday, sometime next week. This is gonna come out on Friday, maybe. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments your favorite part of the Trench Saga, and I'll see you guys next week.